Good morning, America, how are you? Don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Good morning. So I have some magnificent friggin' news to share. And you may have noticed by my singing that there's been some improvements. Let's see. There we go. And so without further ado, the thumb size tumor that was in the back of my mouth is gone. This is after 2.5 weeks of since the chemo infusion, first chemo infusion. The next one is this week. I think it's Wednesday. And last night was my 6th radiation treatment. 6 of 25 projected, so I have 19 to go. And I probably look and sound a lot better than I feel, I gotta tell you. But I'm really excited. I actually hadn't looked at the thing in the back of my mouth from when we did the infusion until yesterday morning, and when I looked, I was just beside myself. I mean, the tissues look really healthy, and there's all of that stuff that was there is completely gone, you know. So little backstory there. The first inkling from the medical establishment that this might be cancer was the week before they gave me the diagnosis. It was the day they did the biopsy. Sorry for the spitting, but believe it or not, the spitting is how we're getting rid of the dead cancer cells. So the more spitting, the better. It doesn't feel good, but it's good that it's happening. So the attending physician took a look at, they just stuck this camera up my nose and you know, they shot all this video of what it looks like back down in there. And the attending physician came in, and there's all these student doctors there. It's like must have been about 5 or 6 of them all crowded into this little room, and me and my friend Rita. And attending physician looks at it and he goes, "Yep. Well, the good news is that all that will simply melt away with chemo and radiation." And now nobody at that point had said anything about cancer. This guy just steps up and says, "Chemo and radiation, that's going to take care of that right away." And I was like, uh-huh. Little did I know, there was something that was very reassuring about this gentleman who had obviously seen a lot of stuff, saying it's just going to melt away. So a couple months ago, thanks to a Rainbow Brother, I was able to speak with one of the leading researchers into this type of cancer. He's treated 10,000 patients, and we had a telephone consultation. And he said the magic words again. He said, with chemo and radiation, this thing should just melt away, right? And so all along I've been trying to envision what exactly does melting away just look like? you know? Pulling up the pants. And then when my good friend Brian Herman, a brain surgeon, called me about a week before I initiated this process. Hey there. To encourage me to undergo the treatment, he used the exact same words. He's like, you know, from the literature, he's like, I'm not into Western medicine or anything like that. I'm a surgeon, but I'm not really, into pills and all that kind of stuff. But from all the literature I've read, this type of cancer you have is curable, and with this treatment, it'll just melt away. So one of the last things I said to the oncologist before we started chemo is I said, I'm really ready, for the melting away part. I'm totally open and embracing the melting away. Can we have the melting away now? Well, now I know what the melting away is like. It sounds really good. And it's great when it's over, right? But the way it melts away is there's a whole lot of coughing and spitting that goes on. And a fair amount of retching as well. But I feel, given the fact that I'm having to do all that, I feel very blessed to be in this position that I am right now. So what's going to happen? I've 19 more treatments. They only do it Monday through Friday, so I have today and tomorrow off to kind of do as much recovery as I can. It's a good thing that I'm able to shoot this video today, because even though we've had this success so far, they're gonna fry this part of my anatomy, and I don't know how much more I'll be able to, how much longer I'll be able to like talk and swallow and try to eat food. Not that eating food has been much more than a chore lately. But the good news is I've been able to maintain my weight at about 175 this week. So that's really good, because at one point I was down to 162. And that's what 3 to 4 meals a day will do for you. Oh, check this out. One of the things I discovered, just to do a little recap. So there's something in this cisplatin, this chemo that they give me that is metal. And when I eat metal, when I eat something that's like been in metal or contacted with metal, like if it's drinking out of a can, or drinking or eating vegetables out of a can, or anything like that, or cooking in a cast iron skillet or something like that, it draws all of this chemo stuff to my nose and my mouth, and it's kind of a really super sickening taste and odor, and it makes you want to hurl. And it can make drinking water taste awful, make you want to retch. And so one of the things I found is coconut water. you know, to get hydrated. I've been drinking coconuts, and then I realized, oh, they already have these broken open. So this week I've just been guzzling coconut water. Hella friggin' Luya. Because it's another really important thing to do is to maintain hydration. Otherwise, it can kind of accelerate some of the things that we don't want to have happen here. Like, well, we don't have to go into that, but hold on a sec. There we go. So I want to take a moment to give somewhat of an accounting and a shout out to people, because I'm in really good shape right now for somebody who's undergoing what I'm going through. And one of the main reasons why that is because of all the stuff that I was able to do from September 19th when I got the diagnosis up until when I underwent the therapy, started the therapy in February. And the reason why I was able to do that was because early on, even before I started the GoFundMe page, a number of people just saw the need, and they sent me money. And with that money, I'm just straight up, man, I used all of that money, every friggin' penny of it, to buy what we'd call supplements and mushrooms and, medicinal mushrooms, not psilocybin or anything like that. Like lion's mane and all that kind of stuff. And all those things, if you saw the picture of all those pills in my hand that I was taking on a daily basis back in November and December, all that stuff, I probably spent about $3,000 of people's donations just on all these different therapies and protocols and everything. And what that did is it got me to a place where I was basically the healthiest I've ever been. My immune system was really strong, even though it wasn't reacting to the cancer, and couldn't because of the fact that the virus that causes this HPV, this variant of the HPV virus, had fused with its DNA with my DNA in the cells in my throat, and so it was basically invisible and going to remain so to my immune system. But one of my initial strategies was to try and supercharge my immune system as much as I could. After I had already, I did this whole series of cleanses, where I cleansed my colon, my liver, kidneys, gallbladder, and bladder. And I was doing all this stuff to build up my blood, and still I'm doing that kind of thing. In the weeks leading up to starting the chemo, I did like 2 weeks of every day of probably a liter of celery juice, and I'm just saying that I'm giving props to people like some people, they don't want to be named or anything, but I just got to say, people like Joseph Lockerbie and Lee Schweibel and Juniper and Ellen Tierney, these folks, and I'm not trying to leave anybody out. There's some other people that probably want to remain anonymous. I won't mention them, but I just think back to when their donations came in, it made it possible for me to, one, not worry anymore about like how I was going to do, take the next step and get the things that my body was telling me I needed to get. My friend Nikki, she sent this this bottle of superfood. My friend Kathy Fahey, she sent this a half gallon of this blushwood berry. Because we were trying to see if that was going to have any effect on the cancer. It may not have had any effect on the cancer, but it had a tremendous effect on my overall health and well-being. And I'm just saying that if you were wondering where that money went, it went to, like I said, I spent $3,000 on vitamins and minerals and all the stuff that got me to this point where I can, I'm 2 weeks into this chemo and I think I'm going to make it, So, and the radiation, 19 more sessions are going to fry. I don't know that I'm going to be able to talk. But the good thing is I am definitely, for the first time, I'm actually thinking about like what happens after this. I'm thinking about the recovery phase of this whole thing, and the reason I'm bringing this up is last week I saw a video. Not a video, what am I saying? A post on Facebook from my friend Floppy. And I mentioned it the last time, but it keeps coming back to me. There was a brother that was diagnosed around the same time as me. I don't know what his cancer was. And he had a positive, he was given a positive outlook, a positive prognosis. And Floppy posted that he didn't make it, and it was because he couldn't keep his strength up. And when I read that, it's like I read it just at the right moment, because I realized that I had to do more to, even though I can't taste food, and I want to not drink because it makes me want to retch, and not eat because it makes me want to retch, that I have to eat and I have to drink and I have to keep my strength up. Otherwise, so, nothing's a given here, and here's another step on that. So, they say that, they told me that one of the things I have to be mindful of, even before this coronavirus thing, was that I need to wash my hands a lot and try to stay away from anybody that's sick or unhealthy or whatever, because my immune system is going to be compromised, right? Well, I just found out this morning that where I'm staying at my friend Ritas House, she just woke up this morning with sniffles. So I've got to find another housing arrangement. And I want to say thank you to everybody that's given money to the GoFundMe page, because I've been able to give her, pay her some rent money from that. She's been a friggin' angel, just totally stepped up and mothered me. And it just felt really wonderful to be able to share the donations that people have given with her, because she's not made out of money, you know, and I know that she would do it. She'd have me there no matter what, but it just feels really good to share the wealth, you know, and give back. But like I said, I've got to find another place, because we're at a point where past couple of days, the effects, you know, the radiation kind of amplifies the chemo, and the nausea has been really overwhelming. And I got to do something to be able to continue to eat just for as long as I can. So what else is happening? Oh yeah, I want to give another shout out to the brother that loaned me this car. It's been so perfect, this little rocket ship, Randall Ettinger's rocket ship, because you know, zipping in and out of this, getting to these appointments has been you know, it's somewhat challenging because it's you know, if I was having to do public transit, man, it would be hellacious. But this car has really been a godsend, and I just want to thank Randall again for that. So my goal, once again, is to get through all this. We've got, like I said, 19 more of these treatments, and that's like 4 weeks worth of 4 more weeks. So in a month from now, I should be finishing. And you know, they say they're going to assess at that point to see if I need to do another 10. But I'm really feeling like, oh yeah, this neck thing. When we started 2 weeks ago, this was as big as a jumbo size egg, and now today, so there's one here, and there were 2 behind it, 2 lymph nodes that were swollen behind it. I think those 2 lymph nodes inside, they're all normal size now, but this one is about the size of a Swedish meatball, and they're gonna keep radiating no matter what. So we're definitely in it for another 19. I'm really hoping that we don't have to do the last 10. I think this next infusion is the last infusion, the one on Wednesday. And yeah, so what else? Let's take a look at the water for a bit. Isn't it wonderful? I am so blessed to be here, you know. I was, and every day I go to this radiation place, I interact with these other patients, and I don't know what cancer they have or anything. We just pass one another going to and coming from. There's this big room. There's this big room with this huge machine in it, and it's basically, a giant microwave machine, and I'm sticking my neck in it, And luckily for me, the people that are doing this are just really dedicated and really good people. Just like, I mean, can you imagine doing this every day and knowing that not everybody that gets on your table is going to make it? And I feel like, you know, I certainly have the best chances going forward from here. But like I said earlier, you know, there are no friggin' guarantees, you know, and things can turn on a dime, and then you're someplace else than you thought you were going to be. So just got to keep spitting. Last night I felt that all the spitting was getting at this the cancer that's down my throat, and so that's what we're working on right now. And this baby on the neck. But like I said at the beginning, they think there's a chance for 100% cure here, so we're going to hang on to that. And I almost want to show you the back of my mouth, but you know, all you're not going to see is just the back of my mouth. There's nothing there. There's no more cancer there. I mean, no more tumor there, which is wonderful. So I'm gonna cut this short, and I'm a little low energy these days. I'm gonna get lower, and probably get back to the house and take a nap. So a couple other things as far as diet that I'm doing. I've been doing blueberry smoothies a lot, you know, for the antioxidants. And I've started doing miso soup every day. This is an interesting story. I don't know if it's if it's a true anecdote or not, but I'm going with it anyway. I don't know if it was Hiroshima or Nagasaki, but there was a hospital that was treating patients, and they realized that the radiation sickness in the staff was less than the regular population, and they realized it was the miso soup that they'd been serving for weeks before the bomb went off in the hospital cafeteria. So somehow miso is supposed to be really good for mitigating radiation sickness, and so I'm going to take that. You know, maybe it's a myth, I don't know, but I started doing a cup of miso every day, and I'm doing this water that is like, it's got to be like 14 or 15 pH alkalinity. Just a couple of shots of that a day, and this stuff called a Vibe, which is it's got a whole laundry list of minerals and amino acids and vitamins that was developed by a couple of doctors to help people going through chemo and radiation. And it's been out for more than 10 years. So we're doing that, an ounce of that in 8 ounces of water twice a day. And resting as much as I can, sleeping a lot. So if you call or text or something and I don't get right back to you, man, it's not because I don't love you. I'm staying away from people as much as I can. My energy level is pretty low. It's probably going to get lower, trying to stay away from getting too anemic. But it's inevitable with this radiation treatment. So way it goes. I'm going to leave the beard in until the end, I think, because they tell me that I'm going to lose this hair. And But they said I should stay, keep the stuff on top. But we'll see. It's a little game we're playing called How Many Dreadlocks Are David gonna have at the end of this bullshit, right? So anyway, how about some more water before we close it out? Yeah. So once again, the reason why I'm out here walking in the shallows is because it draws. It can draw the heavy metals out of your feet. So it's like having one of those foot baths. And I try to get out here at least every other day for a little bit till my feet turn to prunes. And what's the other thing? Oh yeah, the baths. We got one of those. Those little pools that you use to clean your dog in, and that's been amazing. I feel really, the point of that is taking these hot baths, it draws the poisons out through your skin, so I'm trying to do that every other day as well. And I am really looking forward to when this part of my recovery strategy after all this is to do a hot spring tour and of the West Coast. So and whatever else my intuition tells me to do, of course. So where else are we? I think that's about it for now. I'm hoping I still have a voice this time next week when I do another one of these. If you're wondering why you haven't heard from me, it's just because every day is just, kind of resting up as much as I can and then driving myself down to the radiation place down in Redondo Beach, and then trying to eat a little something and then going to bed and starting it all over the next day, so there's not a lot happening, it's not a lot to sing about, but at least I can sing, right? Okay, let's do our my favorite part here, the beaming. Here we go. This is me beaming love at you. Hey Chris, you caught me in the act. So we're signing off, and remember, there's a button. We love you.